Ethan was 22 years old and in his final year of college. He lived at home to save money. Every penny he earned from his part-time job went into something he cared about deeply, his car. It was a used 2014 Honda Civic, not brand new or flashy, but it was his. He had saved for months to buy it, and owning it made him feel proud and independent. His home, however, didn't feel like much of a home. His parents, Karen and David, were distant. They didn't shout or hit, but they didn't show love either. Karen was always busy or distracted, and David acted like Ethan was just another person in the house, not his son. Ethan tried to stay out of their way most days. His older brother, Chase, was the opposite of Ethan. While Ethan worked hard and followed rules, Chase did whatever he wanted. He had been in trouble more than once. Speeding tickets, fights, even missing work. But their parents always came to his rescue. No matter what he did, they made excuses for him. Chase never had to face the real consequences of his actions. Ethan often felt like he was invisible. He stayed focused on school and work, hoping one day things would change. The car was one of the few things in his life that gave him a sense of control and freedom. He took good care of it, cleaned it often, and even parked it carefully every night in the driveway. He didn't expect much from his family. He knew how things worked in that house. But at least he had his car. It was more than just a vehicle. It was proof that he could rely on himself. It gave him hope that one day he'd be able to move out and build a better life, far from the cold walls of his parents' house and the constant noise of his brother's drama. One morning, Ethan woke up earlier than usual. He had a lot planned for the day and needed to run a few errands before heading to class. But when he stepped outside, he froze. His car was gone. At first he thought maybe it had been towed or stolen. Panic hit him in the chest like a punch. He ran back into the house and checked the driveway again from the window. Still nothing. Confused and anxious, he walked into the living room. There, sprawled out on the couch like he owned the place, was Chase. He was holding Ethan's car keys in one hand, tossing them up and catching them like it was some kind of game. "You're looking for this?" Chase asked, grinning. Ethan's heart dropped. "Why do you have my keys? Where's my car?" "I took it out for a drive," Chase said casually. "Mum said it was fine." "What?" Ethan asked, stunned. "You just took my car, without asking." Chase shrugged like it was no big deal. "Relax, dude. It's not like I wrecked it or anything." Ethan turned and stormed into the kitchen, where his mother was sipping coffee and scrolling through her phone. "Mum, did you seriously give Chase my car keys?" Karen didn't even look up. "He needed to go somewhere. What's the big deal?" "It's my car," Ethan said, his voice rising. "I paid for it with my own money. You had no right to give him my keys." Karen finally looked at him, but her face stayed calm. "Don't be so dramatic, Ethan. It's just a car. You live under our roof. Sometimes we help each other." Ethan stood there, stunned. "Help each other? He's not helping me. He took my car without asking." Karen sighed, clearly annoyed. "Just let it go." A few hours later, Chase returned. Ethan stood outside, arms crossed, watching as his brother pulled into the driveway. As the car rolled to a stop, Ethan caught a strong whiff of something through the open window. Weed mixed with the greasy smell of fast food. The inside of the car looked messy, the passenger seat covered in wrappers and drink cups. "You better clean that," Ethan said sharply. Chase smirked. "Relax. It's fine. You're lucky I didn't crash it." Ethan didn't laugh. He didn't say another word. He just took the keys and went to his room. His chest felt heavy, like something inside him had cracked a little. He had worked so hard for that car, and now it felt like it wasn't even his anymore. He realized something important that day. Respect, in that house, wasn't earned. It was handed out unfairly, and he wasn't one of the chosen ones. A week later, Ethan had a big job interview lined up. It wasn't just any job. It was a paid internship at a company he really wanted to work for after graduation. He had printed his resume, laid out his clothes the night before, and even set 2 alarms just to make sure he didn't oversleep. But when he stepped outside that morning, his heart sank. The car was gone. Again, he rushed back inside, his pulse racing. "Where's my car?" he called out. Karen was in the kitchen, calmly spreading butter on toast. She didn't even blink. "Oh, Chase needed it. He had somewhere important to be." Ethan stared at her. "You let him take it again?" "Without even telling me." Karen looked at him like he was being unreasonable. "Why are you always so dramatic, Ethan?" "It's just a car." He said he wouldn't be long. Ethan could barely believe what he was hearing. I have a job interview. I told you about this. I've been preparing all week. Karen shrugged. Well, maybe next time you'll have better luck. Don't act like the world's ending. Ethan didn't respond. He went back to his room, shut the door, and sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the floor. Minutes ticked by. He called Chase. No answer. He texted him. Nothing. Eventually, the interview time passed. No car, no chance. By the time Chase returned that afternoon, laughing on the phone with someone and acting like nothing was wrong, Ethan felt numb. Later that evening, he tried to talk to the whole family. He stood in the living room and said, "This has to stop. That car is mine. I worked for it. I needed it today, and I missed an important interview because of what you did." David looked up from the newspaper. "We understand, son, but it's not worth fighting over." Karen added, "You need to learn to share, Ethan. Families do things for each other." Even Chase played innocent. "I didn't know it was that serious. You could have said something." Ethan felt like screaming. Instead, he walked away. They didn't understand. Or maybe they just didn't care. Either way, the message was clear. In that house, his hard work didn't matter. His voice didn't matter. And that car, even though it was his, could be taken any time. A few days later, Ethan came home from class and found a letter in the mailbox addressed to him from the DMV. He wasn't expecting anything, so he opened it casually until he read the first line. "Confirmation of vehicle title transfer to Chase Thompson." Ethan froze. His eyes scanned the paper again. It said the 2014 Honda Civic, the car he had worked so hard to buy, was now officially registered under his brother's name. He felt dizzy. He flipped the letter over, looking for some kind of mistake, a phone number to call, anything. But the paper was clear. The title had been changed, and his name was no longer on it. He stormed inside, gripping the letter tightly. Karen was folding laundry in the living room. "What is this?" Ethan asked, holding the letter up. "Why is my car under Chase's name now?" Karen barely glanced at the paper. "Oh, that. Yes, we went ahead and transferred the title." "What do you mean, we?" Ethan asked, voice rising. "I never signed anything. I never agreed to that." Karen sighed, like she was tired of the conversation already. "Ethan, calm down. We did it for the greater good. Chase needed it more. You're always so uptight about things." Ethan couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You forged my signature. You stole my car. Legally." Karen folded a shirt neatly. "Don't be so dramatic. It's still in the family. Nothing's changed except the paperwork." Just then, Chase walked in, keys dangling from his fingers and a smug grin on his face. "Got the title letter, huh?" he said. "Guess it's official now." Ethan stared at him in disbelief. "You think this is funny?" Chase shrugged. "It's just how things work around here, bro. You should have known better than to leave it in Mom's name." Ethan's hands were shaking. Everything inside him felt tight, like a spring ready to snap. This wasn't just a theft, it was betrayal from his own family. They hadn't just taken his car, they'd taken his effort, his pride, and the one thing that gave him freedom. And they thought he would just accept it. But Ethan knew, in that moment, he was done playing by their rules. Ethan didn't say a word that night. He went straight to his room, shut the door quietly, and sat on the edge of his bed. His mind was racing, but his face stayed calm. He'd argued enough. Talking didn't work in that house. So instead, he packed. He started with the essentials: his laptop, chargers, schoolwork, clothes. Then he gathered the things that really mattered: his birth certificate, his social security card, his bank documents. He placed them all in a folder and tucked it safely into his backpack. There was no big fight, no final showdown. Ethan had nothing left to say. The next morning, before anyone else was awake, he took one last look at his room. The posters still on the wall, the books still on the shelf. It looked like he still lived there, but he didn't. Not really, not anymore. He carried his bags out the front door, quietly, carefully. The sky was still grey, with early light, when he got into his friend Ryan's car. "You sure about this?" Ryan asked as they drove off. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, I've got nothing left there." Ryan didn't ask more. He just drove. When they reached Ryan's apartment, Ethan helped unload his things, still silent, still calm. But inside, his heart was pounding, not with fear, but with determination. He knew this wasn't over. They had stolen something from him, and he wasn't going to let it slide. That morning, for the first time in a long while, Ethan felt like he was taking back control. After settling into Ryan's apartment, Ethan knew he had to do more than just move out. He had to fight back. The car wasn't just a vehicle, it was his hard work, his independence. He couldn't let his family get away with what they had done. The next day, Ethan went to the police station. At the front desk, he explained everything to Officer Daniels, the car thefts, the forged title transfer, and how his own family had betrayed him. Officer Daniels listened carefully, taking notes. "We'll open a case," she said firmly. "Forgery and theft, especially within family, can be serious. I'll also contact the DMV to verify the transfer." Ethan felt a small surge of hope. A few days later, Ethan called the DMV himself. He asked to speak with someone about the title transfer. Melissa, the clerk, answered his call. "Sir, the transfer was completed online with a digital signature," Melissa explained. "I can see the date and time it was submitted, but I can't tell if it was forged or not from here." Ethan asked if there was a way to challenge the transfer. Melissa said yes. He could file a dispute and provide proof that he never authorized the transfer. That evening, frustrated but determined, Ethan shared his story on social media. He posted the DMV letter, the police report number, and a short message explaining what had happened. He asked for advice and support. Within hours, his post blew up. Hundreds of people shared it. Comments poured in from strangers who had faced similar family betrayals or legal struggles. Some even offered contacts for legal aid and advice. One message stood out. It was from Rachel, a legal aid attorney who specialized in cases involving fraud and family disputes. "Hi Ethan," she wrote. "I've read your story. If you want, I can help you fight this legally. No upfront fees." Ethan replied immediately, grateful for the offer. Over the next few days, Rachel helped him gather documents and prepare a formal legal challenge against the title transfer. With Rachel's guidance and the public support growing behind him, Ethan felt more powerful than ever before. This wasn't just about a car anymore. It was about standing up for himself and proving that hard work and honesty mattered. For the first time since this whole nightmare began, Ethan believed he could win. A few weeks later, Ethan got a call that made his stomach drop. "Chase crashed the Civic," Ryan said quietly over the phone. "It's totaled." Ethan's heart sank. The car was already stolen from him, and now it was wrecked beyond repair. When Ethan asked what happened, Ryan explained that Chase claimed the brakes failed while he was driving fast. He lost control and hit a tree. Ethan didn't buy it. Chase was reckless and careless, but this felt like another excuse to avoid responsibility. Then the news spread quickly on social media. Karen posted a message on Facebook praising Chase for surviving the crash, but she also took a jab at Ethan, saying, if Ethan had taken better care of the car, none of this would have happened. Comments flooded in, some supportive of Chase, others questioning Karen's blame on Ethan, but it was clear the family was trying to paint Ethan as the problem. Ethan refused to stay silent. He gathered all the evidence he could find, recent inspection records showing the brakes were fine, texts where Chase bragged about speeding, and receipts from the last repairs Ethan paid for. He posted a calm but firm reply on Facebook, attaching photos and documents. "Here are the facts," Ethan wrote. "The brakes were inspected and passed just last month. The crash wasn't caused by failure but reckless driving. I hope Chase gets the help he needs." His post gained traction, with many people sharing and commenting in support. Some even reached out with advice on how to handle the crash claim and insurance. The battle wasn't over, but Ethan's voice was louder now, backed by proof and truth. He wasn't just the kid with a stolen car anymore. He was fighting for justice. Emily, Chase's ex-girlfriend, sent Ethan a message out of the blue one afternoon. At first, Ethan was surprised. He hadn't spoken to Emily before, but something told him to open the message. In her DM, Emily wrote honestly and without hesitation. She explained how she had seen the truth about Chase for years, his drinking, drug use, reckless driving, and the lies he told to everyone around him, especially his family. She said she stayed silent for a long time because she hoped he would change, but things only got worse. Emily didn't just say these things, she showed proof. She attached screenshots of texts where Chase admitted to sneaking out late at night to drink, photos of him passed out behind the wheel, and even videos of him driving dangerously fast. She also shared messages where Chase tried to convince her to keep quiet or blame others. Reading Emily's messages was like finally seeing the full picture. Ethan felt a mix of anger, relief, and sadness. The reckless behavior and cover-ups weren't just accidents. They were part of a long pattern his family refused to acknowledge. With Emily's evidence, Ethan knew he had stronger proof for his legal case. He thanked her, promising to use everything wisely. Emily said she wanted to help him get justice, not just for the car, but for everything Chase had caused. For the first time, Ethan didn't feel so alone. Someone else saw the truth and was willing to stand with him. Emily's courage gave Ethan new hope. Now, he was ready to face whatever came next, armed with the truth and the support he needed. Rachel carefully added all of Emily's evidence to Ethan's legal case. The texts, photos, and videos painted a clear picture of Chase's reckless behavior and the lies his family had been hiding. With this new proof, the case against Chase and Ethan's parents became much stronger. Soon after, the DMV reviewed the situation again. They saw the forged signature and realized the title had been transferred without Ethan's permission. The DMV officially reversed the transfer, putting the car title back in Ethan's name. At the same time, the insurance company denied Chase's claim for the crash. They agreed the accident was caused by reckless driving, not brake failure, and refused to pay out for the damage. Meanwhile, David and Karen came under investigation for fraud. Authorities questioned them about why they transferred the title without Ethan's consent and whether they had helped Chase cover up his actions. Ethan watched all of this unfold with a mix of relief and satisfaction. After months of betrayal and struggle, justice was finally on his side. He had stood up against his family and won. The car might have been wrecked, but Ethan's hard work, honesty, and courage had not been destroyed. This victory wasn't just about a vehicle, it was about reclaiming his life and proving that he would no longer be pushed around. Ethan felt stronger than ever. This was the fresh start he had been waiting for. Ethan finally found his own place, a small but cozy apartment just a few miles from campus. Moving out felt like stepping into a new chapter. For the first time, everything was truly his. No one could take it away. With some savings and support from friends, Ethan bought a used Toyota Corolla. It wasn't fancy, but it was reliable, and most importantly, it was his car. His name on the title, no questions asked. He took a deep breath and blocked Karen, David, and Chase on all his social media and phone. No more messages, no more drama. It was time to focus on himself. There were no regrets. Ethan knew cutting ties was the only way to protect his peace and sanity. Living alone gave him clarity. He could focus on school, work, and building the future he dreamed of without constant fear or betrayal. Ethan felt free. Owning his own life and choices gave him strength he never had before. He learned that sometimes family doesn't mean trust or support, and that's okay. This was his journey now, on his terms. And for the first time in a long time, Ethan smiled, knowing he was finally home. Hey besties, if this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories that lift you up. Stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.